Hello everyone. Welcome to Teaching Tuesday. I'm Heather McGee. Today, as we get ready for Thanksgiving, we're going to make some very goofy looking turkeys. They're on clothespins. See that? They're goofy and they're funny, a lot like my own family. And as we spend extra time together on Thanksgiving, it's just fun to have a project to do, especially if it's goofy. Today's project has a number of different steps, and you're going to need to be able to do a step and then let it dry and then do another step. So we'll be stopping and starting a little bit. We'll still walk you through everything you need to know. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to need, you need some white coffee filters. Just plain old white coffee filters. Some water-based markers. It's really important that these are water-based. So I've got Thanksgiving fall colors here, and we'll use those for coloring in the turkey's tail. We need clothespins. There's one for each turkey you want to make, and I just have them on a scrap of cardboard here because I'm going to paint them, and it's easier to paint them holding onto the board than it is holding onto the clothespin. So brown paint and a paintbrush and a cup of water so you can wash out your brush. If you don't want to use paint, that's fine. Use a permanent brown marker. That works also. And actually, that's what I used on this turkey, is a permanent brown marker. Need some Elmer's glue, some googly eyes to make them look crazy. You just need little tiny pieces of paper in yellow and red. Let's see what else. Pair of scissors. And I have a spray bottle. We're going to use this to make the coffee filters damp, and then the colors will bleed out. I'll show you when we get there. It's pretty cool. I'm also working today on newspapers because this can be a huge mess. So if you'd like to come along, join me and we'll make these crazy turkeys. You ready? Here we go. Let's start with the tail feathers of this turkey. Now as I take this one apart, it just unclips, and I'll show you. Look, this is a coffee filter. So we're going to need one coffee filter. And squish it down flat. And I'm going to take my colored markers and I'm going to make a design on here. This is a really thin piece of paper, so the marker will go through to the other side. See that? So I'm gonna put some brown. It kind of looks like spokes on a wheel. You can put any design you want to on here. I'm just gonna poke them out from the edge. Remember, this has got to be water-based marker, or it will not work the way you want it to. Permanent marker will not bleed, and you want the colors to be able to bleed. It looks really cool when they get wet. Some of you may have done a project like this before. So I think I'll put some yellow on in between. When I'm doing this, I'm using the side of the marker because it's wider and it's easier to fill up space quickly. Like I said before, these filters are thin, so the colors go right through. If you're working on something that you don't want to get those marker colors on, make sure you've got a newspaper down. We're going to be using newspapers for a couple things today, because in addition to using markers, we're using water and we're using paint. There we go. That's kind of neat. I think I'll put some orange in here now too. Fill up that V with some orange. We'll see what happens. Now when we spray water on, I just have a spray bottle that we use for hair. Sometimes you may have one that you use for the grill. If there are times you spritz some of your food. So this is just a water spritzer. You just put a little red wherever you like it. I just like the color. There we go. As you finish your filter, it's going to be much flatter than when you first started. You see that? Now this one, the one that I took off of our turkey, looks really muted, and the colors are all running together, aren't they? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this out of the way, all my markers, because I'm done with those. I'm going to take the spray bottle. I miss my computer. And I'm just going to spray the coffee filter so that it's nice and wet. See the colors? They're all spreading out, aren't they? Now if you pick this up and try and use it right now, you're going to make a mess. And much of your color has come right through to the other side of the filter. That's okay. We're just going to leave it here. A little more water, just for fun. We're going to let that dry. So I'm going to set this off to the side, and I'll be right. I'm back again. I had to dry off my computer because I accidentally hit it with a spray bottle. The next thing we're going to do is paint clothespins. Now remember, I had you get a piece of cardboard to put your clothespins on. That's so you can hold on to the cardboard as you're painting the clothespin all over. So in order to do this, you're going to need some brown paint. If you have a paint tray to put it in, that works really well. If not, you can just use the paint out of the lid, or you can carefully dip your paintbrush into the top of the paint. And I'm going to take this and just paint all over. You want a nice coating of paint all over your paintbrush. So making little tiny moves. This isn't a big paintbrush, it's just a little one. You're going to go inside the paper clip too. Or that's not a paper clip, it's a clothespin, isn't it? I'm going to get brown paint all over it, even up here. There we go. The whole way around. I think you'll find it's much easier to hold on to the cardboard than it is to the actual paper clip. So you're painting the inside. Every place that you can see, you want it to be brown. That's going to be the base color for your turkey. Sorry, I was right out of the camera view there. Do you have turkey for Thanksgiving? Is that something you like to eat? My family usually does. And that's one of the few times of the year we actually have turkey. There we go. That one's looking pretty good. Since I'm just making one turkey right now, I'm just going to paint one clothespin. But remember, for each turkey that you make, you're going to need another clothespin. There we go. That looks pretty good. Oops, just dropped my brush. I sit it here, put the lid back on. I'm going to go put this aside to let it dry also. There are a couple ways that you can do this. You could just lean the cardboard up against your little paint jar like that if you wanted to do that. And that way the paintbrush, whoops, I missed a spot. But the paint on the clothespin doesn't get stuck to the newspaper. So I'm going to move this out of the way and we'll go on to our next step. Now you'll need your yellow and red paper. I'm going to make a beak for your turkey. See this little tiny one here? I use a little piece of orange. And this crazy little thing, it goes down underneath his beak. It's called a wattle. And it's usually a reddish color. So we're going to make a beak and a wattle. Now, a clothespin is definitely not very big, is it? Not at all. So we need a very tiny piece. Just going to make a triangle, and we're going to use that for the turkey's beak. See that little piece right there? That's what I'm going to use. And the red, we just need a little piece of red too. The wattle is curvy. So I'm going to curve at the top and just kind of go down, kind of in a teardrop shape. And then go back up, and they're going to put a little hook on the edge here. See that? See how that's shaped? And then what we'll do is we'll put the beak over top of the wattle, like that. Now, if you don't like it that way, you could flip it and put it the other direction. It's all good. But we're going to need our clothespin. Now the clothespin has dried. I'm going to take this off of the cardboard. Maybe just a little damp around the edges, but not too bad. So I'm going to use this for the top of the turkey. Let's see, this one has got eyes on it. We'll put eyes on ours too that we're making now. So I need a little bit of glue. You can use Elmer's glue, or you can use a glue stick, whichever one works best for you. Remember, if you're using Elmer's glue, be careful. It can come out very fast, and then you end up with blobs of glue all over everything. You may need your grown-ups' help with that one. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here on both sides of where that clip is. See the clip? I'm going to put it on both sides. I'm going to put the wattle on first. And then we're going to put this little beak over top of it. Like that. And you can slide it around for a few minutes before it completely dries to get it where you want it. There we go. There's a little bit of glue around the edge of it, but since this is school glue, it will dry clear. And we do need to add some eyes. So I get 2 eyes here. There's one, there's another one. If you don't have googly eyes, you can use a piece of paper and just cut out a circle. That would work just fine. I'm going to put some glue on the end of the clothespin here. I don't know if you remembered, but from using Elmer's glue before, you have to make sure it's dry before you pick things up. Look, it's a one-eyed turkey. It's a cyclops turkey. There we go. And I put the eyes so that one's a little taller than the other, because I think it makes it look a little kookier. We'll set that aside and let it dry. My coffee filter is also dry. Now here's the original one I had. I like the new one, has a little more color to it, so that's pretty nice. Now when I folded this originally, I folded it not quite in half so that there you can see some of the back arc and some of the front. So we're going to do the same thing with this. You could pick a direction that looks good. I think it looks kind of cool this way. Does that look? Maybe we'll try that. You could just fiddle with it to see how it looks. You're going to fold your coffee filter. Put a nice tight fold in it. And I have one side that's lower than the other, so you can see more of the different colors. The last step, you're going to crunch this up a little bit. I'm going to take my clothespin and put the clothespin right in the middle here. You can see it's not dry yet. His eyes are still wet around it. And then take your turkey, and you're going to bend his wings down. The edge of that coffee filter is going to crunch right here in the middle, right up next to the clothespin. You see that? And what that does then is once you've got the folds in by his body, his tail is all opened up in a big fan. Like the turkey has got his tail feathers out and telling everybody, hello, it's Thanksgiving. I hope you had fun making your turkeys today. You could do all sorts of things on them. You could put a little piece of paper down here and glue it on that has people's names, and you can use them for place settings at your table. So everybody has their own turkey. Just have fun with it, and I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Bye.